operate in love, we take action.
Because if I can do it, I promise you any of you can do it. There's no question about that. If you want your present to be better, your future has to be bigger. Nothing but love for you, brother. Nothing but love. What's up, Honey Badger Nation, man? Excited. This is one of my favorite times of every week. Is being able to chop it up with Cuz and we get Albie with us every other week for sure. So it's good. What's up, Cuz?
What's going on? What's up, John?
Rocking and rolling, brother. How are things in the land?
Things are good, man. I was congratulating myself because Jay Kinder allowed me to actually win some money on this last Super Bowl. Because the dude literally is like crushing every week. He's like I swear to you, the one game, it was during like the I think AFC playoffs. Not only did he win 3 quarters, Reese won the 4th, all in one game. And I'm like, come on, maybe I should just Venmo you the money directly and forget the game. And so I got to win a quarter, which was cool. And night before that, went out to a great dinner at a restaurant that's the best restaurant, hands down, called the Marble Room in Cleveland. And so it was a great weekend, and the week's off to a great start with I got some people in the red zone coming over that I can't release the name yet to everybody, but super exciting team coming over in the local area here. And I got some more on the fringe here. So just working through it, excited about it. And that's about it, man. How about you?
Doing fantastic, man. I had some blood work done this morning. I have never done any blood work, and I have a fear of needles.
You've never done blood work in your whole life?
Mm-mm.
You never had blood work taken and tested?
Well, I have, had to do that, but I have not done anything like in 20 something years. And so, I feel good, but I feel like I should feel better, if that makes any sense. And so, damn anxiety, just like thinking about it all last night and all morning, and the anticipation was worse than the actual, it was over in like 3 minutes. Yep.
This is my results right here.
Yep.
So I put me in a cocktail of something good and make me healthier and hopefully live a few more years.
Yeah. And so, I'm a part of, the strategic coach program, and they threw out an offer at the beginning of the year, kind of half price. And it was all these tests. It was it was so long of everything that they're going to test for. I was like, I have never done anything like that. I'm just curious, because it's one of those things, right? To where Garrett White talks about this. He's like, why y'all getting upset when something actually happens, right? So you blow your knee out and you get upset and hurt because you blew your knee out, yet that knee's been bothering you for 2 years and you never went and got it checked. You never did anything to it. You weren't trying to rehabilitate it. You weren't doing all the preventatives or all the things to make it stronger. That was one of the examples he uses. So I was like, man, if something pops up on the radar, I'm going to be pissed because I didn't get out in front of it and get some tests and give me some feedback so I can improve. And you know how we are. We're all about feedback. We're all about, hey, because we have an obsession to become better each and every day. And so our health has to be no different. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I'm sitting here, I talk to you about this all the time, and I'm like, but I don't even know. And we all make decisions based upon data. And I'm like, I don't even know the data to know what I need to improve on. And so that was the driving force for it. And to overcome my fear of needles, I was like, I'm going to power through this. I'm going to get those results because I know it's going to help me, in the long term to make those adjustments. Like you just said, I know I can feel better. And I know if I have the data, I don't have to guess. I can make precision, improvements.
Yep. No, I'm with you. And 100-0, my biggest, where I've fallen short is, I went ahead and took the steps of getting the blood work started and done, and I haven't done shit with them. It's been sitting here on my desk for a couple weeks, and I know we're sitting here training for a big race, and it's the biggest thing I've ever had to train for ever, and I feel good. But I was starting to think, I was in the pool yesterday, and I was finishing up, and I was like thinking to myself, I mean, I felt good after it, but I was thinking to myself, how much better could I have felt if I would have gotten on a regimen? And I'm on my 49th trip around this planet. It'll be 49 in October. And so I'm just like thinking like, okay, yeah, I'm taking care of myself, but I don't have all the most healthy habits. Like, what else could I be doing that I'm not doing? And there's a lot, the truth of it. I'm not taking supplements. And I know that there's things in this lab thing that, they wanted me to go get a physical. And it's about like putting things in priority. I have a list of to-do things that I need to get done that are sitting right here for me to stare at. And they have to be put in priority. And I put work in front of those things sometimes. And, as far as in front of health. And I don't advise that, because if I'm not healthy, I can't work. And so health has to come first. And I've pushed it to the side too many times just because it's like, yeah, I don't really want to get a physical. That's just boring. Like, gosh, I could be doing something. I could be recruiting somebody, And so I don't know. It's the bullshit story I tell myself. And then I put off the wrong things in the wrong order. So.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, honestly, we know what has to happen, right? That to-do list, if it doesn't make the calendar, it doesn't happen. So that physical has just got to get in the calendar. I mean, that's it, right? That was the same thing with me. I was like, I would have drugged this thing out. And I was even telling myself the story this morning. It's like, maybe I can reschedule this. Maybe she showed up late. She was like 10 minutes late. I was like, maybe she's not going to come today. Right. And I started getting all excited. And, but it has to go in the calendar. If it doesn't go in the calendar, it'll never happen. And that's like what you just mentioned about the big event. It's like, you got it in the calendar. Now you reverse engineer. It's like, okay, well, what I'm committed. I understood what it's going to take for me to commit. Now, what's the work I got to do to make sure that I'm going to accomplish the goal I have for that event? So it doesn't make the calendar. It doesn't happen.
Yep. For
sure. I just want to kind of carry that over to our business and our agent attraction side of things. And so, we go through, we get the data right now. Now it's up to us to do something about it. But that's the same thing with agent attraction. We should be tracking. I love I would love for you to kind of break apart your 25-10, what is it? 25-10-4 method, little Stasek method. What is the process? What are you measuring? And then in return, what are the measurements telling you? So what improvements and adjustments do we need to make, especially as it comes to our agent attraction efforts?
Well, the 25-10-4 is just a series of numbers for more along the lines of, it's not just a scoreboard, and it's not an exact formula, but it's more of a mental way of focusing your energy on the leading measures versus the lagging measures. And the book, I can't remember the name of it, that talks about just the theory of leading measures and focusing on those. For instance, a leading measure could be phone calls and not appointments, because appointments is the lagging measure to how many contacts you're making. Okay. So for agent attraction, it's a leading measure is how many people are you inviting to events every single month? That's a great leading measure, because we know that the more you do that, the more that you'll get the result of conversations about, joining EXP. Another leading measure that leads to a lagging measure with that is, so it's invites, and you could say just, straight up, I lost my train of thought, but I had another leading measure.
Conversations.
Follow up. Well, yeah. Or just follow up text messages. How many text messages am I sending to my hit list on a monthly basis that will then lead to that conversation?
I love it.
Those are the metrics that you really worry about, because those are what leads to having meaningful conversations. And
what? With you just saying that real quick, I just want to emphasize what you're saying to everybody listening into this. And, what really, we know that, but it's almost been 2 years ago now. It was the end of 20. I was sitting in Key West with Blake. We just had a little getaway, just met him down in Key West. And we're sitting there, we fly out later that day, and we're back around, just perfect view. Bar is empty because it's, early afternoon. And I just looked over at him. I said, "Hey, bro, what's been the number one driving force for your business this year?" He didn't even hesitate. He said, "Daily wins." And he said, it is the one thing that they're committed to today that's going to get them new business that's within their control. And he said, within their control is key. He emphasized that. And you think about it, and let's apply this to agent attraction. What are the couple things within your control that you can focus on and commit to today? And so saying you're going to have an agent meeting today, that's not within your control because they can cancel or they can reschedule.
Yep.
So what are the activities? And this is what you're talking about. This is what I want to hammer home for everybody listening in. And I want everybody to hear what you're saying. And what you're saying is that these are the things that you can do within your control that's going to move your agent attraction efforts forward every day.
So the number one thing with the formula, which don't even, you can write this down if you want, you can YouTube it, and I break it all down on there. But this was a process that was put together for selling homes. And it was basically opportunities that led to appointments that led to sales. 25 opportunities. So 25 new opportunities. That's something that everyone, and this applies to agent attraction too. The one thing that we can control is identifying more opportunities. You need more opportunities. So how many different ways can we create new opportunities? We can do it through co-brokes. If you're out there selling your tail off and you're doing co-brokes left and right with people, that's one. You can identify opportunities by joining the board as a board of directors for your local realtor board, or jumping in a committee and getting involved in things like that. You're going to have a ton of collisions, AKA opportunities to have conversations. So identifying the opportunities. And so from the sales thing, we can look at lead generation as a way of identifying new opportunities. Some of the leads come in are not opportunities. So first thing is let's identify what is a qualified opportunity. Once you identified what a qualified opportunity is, you have control in creating those through various ways. It could be LinkedIn. It could be, like I said, through the board. I use Facebook Messenger is my friend. And because I'm connected to so many real estate agents in Cleveland, all around the country, that when I'm doing an event, I just send them invites. I just sent an invite to a team that's local to Coach Burt's event, and I did like 50% off of their ticket. Hey, I think that your team's going to get a lot out of this. Bring them. Use the discount code. I made you one. And I just sent it out to them. There's no strings attached. There's no recruiting going on. I just dropped some value and identified an opportunity. Now, that may not work out, but frankly, I don't care because that's not my focus. My focus is identifying the opportunity, then adding value to the point, which is the next. So 25, 10, 4, 25 new opportunities a month should turn into 10 appointments. That was we're talking about listings, right? And 10 listing appointments should result in 4, listings taken. And that's at a 40% taken rate. If you're going on 10 appointments, most people say, well, I think I could get 4 if I go on 10 appointments.
Yeah.
And so that's where that math came into play, is that focusing not so much on appointments, that's important, but we can't focus on appointments until we identify a certain amount of opportunities, because of the opportunities that we identify, we're not going to go on every single appointment. There's going to be people that we don't want to work with out of those. There's going to be people that don't want to work with us. There's going to be people who aren't ready. And then you have that subset of people who you can get to say yes to an appointment.
It's just a framework, and it's a system and a process to work through instead of just randomly, firing arrows into the dark. It is really, a little more precision and at least have a framework to operate within. And the one thing that I always, challenge people is like, just track it for 90 days. And our assumptions will make the adjustments from there, right? Like you're talking, hey, this is a 40% conversion, but after 90 days, we're seeing we're operating around 70%. Then we're like, okay, well, let's make our adjustments. And do we want to ratchet it up? Do we want to do more? Or are we good with where we're at? But you got to track it and be willing to track it and stay disciplined. And that's really what discipline is, right, Al? It's like anybody can do anything. Like you can track, hey, I'm going to track everything. Great. Track it for today. But being disciplined is mean that you tracked it for 90 days and you're going to keep tracking it from now on. Yeah. And for me, I know for you, definitely know for Jay, that we can help you guys better if we are, we can help you better if we know what the math is. What's the data telling us? So this goes back to the whole point. Got blood work today. You have the results sitting right there on your desk. Now you can know what adjustments you need to make because you got the data. And I got I got Robert Greene's book. Robert Greene wrote the 48 Laws of Power. He worked with the 50 on the 50th law, and he's written so many other books. But he has a daily where you can read it, like the Daily Stoic. So obviously Ryan Holiday is a disciple of Robert Greene, and so Ryan pushed Robert to do a daily book as well. And one of the things talking about mastery, because he wrote a book, one of his other books is called Mastery. And what he talks about mastery is it's not sitting there thinking about it. It's sitting there putting in the work of the actual activity. That's how you truly master anything. And it's all about work, putting in the effort, doing the actual work is how you gain mastery. You don't gain mastery by sitting here and talking about it. You actually do the work. And so that's what I want to say, whatever formula, whatever framework, whatever helps you, you measure it, but it's not going to matter if you don't do the work.
Yep. No, 100%. And it's, we talk about it every week, but it is oftentimes, that boring piece of just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and being consistent with it. It's what Andre does, it's what Dan Hillsman does. And we enjoyed having conversations with those guys because they just don't complicate it. Yeah. I sent,
I just posted it. So it just hit on the, in the chat.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Check it out. It's an old video of me. But it really, I think it just breaks the process down, and you can tweak those numbers to whatever, what makes sense, because it's just that started out as an assumption, meaning I had an assumption that this would work and we had to tweak it along the way. But that really came from, where I learned that from? Did I tell you where that came from?
You have a long time ago. I think it's worth, resharing.
Do you guys, I don't know that. So Kirby vacuum cleaners, is that a thing? Is Kirby vacuum? Is that
I don't know if it's a thing anymore.
Yeah, I don't know either. But so Kirby typically had the best sales team. We're talking people that were trained assassins to go door to door and sell people a vacuum cleaner that they may not even needed a vacuum cleaner, but they were the best at selling vacuum cleaners. Now, I've never been trained. I never worked for Kirby, but I hired a real estate agent who was an ex-Kirby salesman, and he was the number one salesman in our region. And he told me about, a process that they used, and that process was a front talk. So, it was basically what they said up front, at the beginning of their presentation. And they also used a formula. And so the formula they used was not 25-10-4, but it was very similar. And it was about how many doors they could knock, how many people would actually let them in versus, they knew that they had to hit so many doors before they could get someone to let them in. They knew they had to have so many people to let them in before they could actually sell a vacuum cleaner. And so they broke it down to a numbers thing. And I'll take it one step further. There's a financial company called Northwestern Mutual. And I think I bought maybe like a life insurance policy through them at one point. And they used a very similar process. And you can look that up, what their process was. But it was like 10 people called, or 10 contacts got them 4 appointments to sell them financial products. And out of those 4, 1 bought. That was his formula. And he actually was a bean counter. So he did this throughout years and years and years and years and years. And he compiled the formula. That's what he did. He didn't just pull the numbers out of air. So I kind of used both of those. I cheated, I used both of their numbers, and I started plugging them into what was working for us in the real estate team. And I was going on appointments and stuff like that. So our ISAs, that's what they looked at. They looked at the 24, their job, each ISA, 25 new per month, 25 new opportunities, which would turn into, 10 face-to-face qualified appointments. And usually that would turn into 4 sales. So if you want to sell a house a week, that's what we found was the formula. If that was your goal. So, of course it can be tweaked, but at least it's a good framework for people to start on.
It is, man. It's incredible. Especially the Northwestern Mutual. You find anybody that's been gone through that training, they're some of the best in the world. Zach, who is Jack and Michael Perry's recruiter.
Yeah.
Northwestern Mutual.
No kidding.
Best. He's one of the best that I've ever had an opportunity to be exposed to and listen to him, and is just how smooth he is. But Northwestern Mutual training.
And Zach knows the formula then, for sure. They still teach it to their reps to this day.
And then I would say, another great finding somebody with a skill set is Cutco.
Oh, yeah.
Cutco training is second to none as well.
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
Yep. There was a question in here about the agent attraction project we're working on.
Yep.
Jay's actually, as we speak right now, the reason he's not on this is because he's got 1 or 2 more recordings, which our goal is this week. All the recordings are going to be done. We're literally at the finish line right now. I actually owe a couple edits, and I'm going to finish those up. I got my video edits. These are for the testimonials, which they're done, but we got to chop them up and put certain pieces where. It's kind of like a little bit of a puzzle that we're doing here. And so end of this week, it won't be really ready to launch, but I'm guessing I'm going to go out on a limb and say not this Friday, but the following Friday, we should have something very, like, if we're not there, it's like within days. So I'd say 2 weeks. And I've hesitated on saying when, but we're at a point where we can safely say that.
I love it. It's getting close, right? It's Hofstadter's law. Everything takes twice as long, even when you factor in it's going to take twice as long. And so appreciate you guys being patient. It's going to be rolling. Any questions, anything on y'all's mind, throw it into the comments, and Al and I will dive in and unpack it, and help you guys gain a little clarity moving into the rest of the week. And so, man, we've got a lot of great stuff in the works, things that, we're working on. I love to, I feel like we're in the lab, right, at all times. We've got to, Dre and M, we're in the lab at all times working on things. So just know, we're not sitting with our feet kicked up on the desk. We're actually grinding away, trying to help add as much value, try to solve big problems. I think that's kind of where we're at is, we're looking at the big problems that real estate agents are having, and we're trying to solve those problems. And this goes back to Coach Burt. You're either solving bluegill problems or blue marlin problems. Bluegill pays bluegill money. Big blue marlin problems pays big blue marlin money. And so that goes also back to kind of the relationships.
Yep.
Right. And that was kind of one of the challenges at the beginning of the year that we threw out to our leaders, and kind of mentioned it and thrown it out to everybody listening in is, what were those top 5 blue marlin relationships that you needed to invest in this year? That's going to help accelerate your career, accelerate your life. And, I'm just kind of throwing it out there as an accountability check. How's everybody coming along with those relationships?
So something kind of cool to tie in the Super Bowl halftime show, because why not? How could we not? Our buddy Stuman made a really great post about the halftime show.
Yep.
and I literally screenshotted it and circled the one piece and sent it to Jay because it's in alignment with another project that we're working on right now. I mean, literally, as soon as this one's off, we're already working on it actually, but as soon as this one's off the table, we're going full go into this next piece, which is really helping solve problems for, we want to be able, look, we're trying to add as much value as possible, but our hands are somewhat tied with just the Honey Badger Nation platform. We can only do so much. So in order to go deeper on that, we really, we have a vision of wanting to create more millionaires. And I'm not going to get real deep in. I'm going to leave the powder dry. But we, in order to be able to do that, we have to be able to help the agent that needs to go from 3 transactions to 6, from 6 to 10, from 10 to 20, and really from 0 to 30 transactions. And we believe that if we can help the agents who are out there who don't have a team to turn to, they're single agents, they're out there, not just in Honey Badger Nation, but out there at other brokerages, and they're kind of flapping in the wind and they need help. We need to come up for a solution with that. But how that ties in is Stuman wrote, how did Dr. Dre, because he was talking about like Dre is the leader that went out and took underdogs like Snoop and Eminem and led them to be leaders in the industry. And it looks like we lost John, which is interesting because I'm still here. But so basically he said, how did Dr. Dre get to be worth $1 billion? Is that he got a lot of other people worth hundreds of millions. And so obviously that kind of lends itself to the whole thing of, if in order for you to be successful, help other people be successful, which is what the guiding principle of our company is about, and why, we have vested interest in seeing other people win. But I just thought that it was interesting that Stuman said, he got to be worth $1 billion. He was the only billionaire up there. Or maybe he's not worth now, who knows, depending on stock and stuff like that, but close enough to where, he just helped a lot of other people win big. And it's why he's at the top of the game, and he's the true godfather, that helped all those other people get successful. So I don't know what happened with my boy. Looks like we're still live. Oh, here he goes. He's coming back now.
So I was listening to you. So what I love about that story too, though, is that 50's under him.
Yeah.
So it's not only Dre collecting all of these, but it's leaders creating leaders. And so that, think about that for a second. And that's the opportunity that we have at EXP in an industry that doesn't have any other opportunities like this.
Yeah.
And so it's leaders creating leaders. And you look at Dre, M to 50, right? You look at the chain. And so it's just fascinating. Stuman nailed it. I mean, he's an incredible storyteller as it is, but I just thought that was just a fascinating,
yeah. I saw that. And I read all of Stuman's stuff.
He's great.
If anyone's not following Ryan, you should. If you want to learn from one of the best copywriters in the nation, I believe, I can't really point at anyone that comes to mind that's a better writer than him. He's so damn good. And the reason he's so damn good is because he just does it every day. He's willing to do what no one else that I know is willing to do.
Over a decade, every day, just writing.
Yeah. And not just on one platform. He's got Sales Talk with Sales Pros that he writes on. He's got his front wall that he writes on. And a lot of times it's different content. It's a different post about a different idea, but he's a machine. And that was just a good post that I thought was a great analogy to what we're doing right here. So I'm
going to give his the number one book that he what? It's the number one book that he said changed his entire life. And it's John Carlton's. It's called Kick-Ass Copywriting Secrets of a Marketing Rebel. And it looks like Carlton even has a course now. but you used to be able to find the book. The book, you had to get the book. It was a couple $100 to even get the book. And, but it looks like he's got a course now. So John Carlton, Kick-Ass Copywriting Secrets of a Marketing Rebel. And you go back and you ask Stewman, there were two things that accelerated his career. One was a set of DVDs that he was given. And then the other was this book. And so he learned internet marketing off of those CDs. And then he learned how to be a badass copywriter by starting there with that book and then putting in the work, writing every day. And so he's just, if you look at, you know, it's right. Overnight success, my ass, right? Just all the hard work that he's put in. And you know, he became an incredible storyteller and he's funny as shit. So, you know, you layer in those, you know, humor plus just being able to be relentless in writing every day. And that's what it takes, man. He's just disciplined to the process, and he's just disciplined to build that skill set, and it's paid off and exponential payoff.
I mean, and you know, when we want to talk about some principles, I love talking about principles. You do too. The thing is Stewman, is it the cassettes that he bought or the DVDs he was given, or was it the book that he read? And those are definite components to the success of Ryan Stewman. But the bigger success is the balls he had to just do it.
Yep.
And put himself out there and not give a damn. He shoots the video and doesn't give a damn. He writes the copy and doesn't care. He doesn't care if people are reading it, not reading it. They could be negative. They could be positive. He just did it every single day better. And then of course, he's going to get better at it. It's like, if you're going on one listing appointment or two a month, I can guarantee you're not going to get good.
Yeah.
You're not going to get good. You got to go out and screw up 10 or 12 or 20. That's when I started getting good. Like I just needed more at bats. And I was just dumb enough to go knock on an expired's door when they didn't answer. And I just did it again, and I did it again, and I did it again. And frankly, at the time, it's because I had nothing better else to do. I was like, well, I'm not selling a lot of houses, so I might as well get out there and just make some contacts and fail, because I know that it's going to happen. So I'm just going to do it over and over again. Before you know it, I went out there. I knocked on this guy's door. I was positive. It was like, he looked mean. And it's on McKinley Avenue in Lakewood. I mean, I can know that the guy's name is Bill. And he was kind of mean. At first, I was like, this guy's going to chase me away and tell me to get the hell out of here. No, he invited me in. Next thing you know, we're buddies. And he was kind of a jerk. Turns out he ended up like, he never listed his house with me, but he referred me to all of his other friends.
Yeah.
Like, it was just crazy. Like, I tell the story of Bill because I wouldn't even want to deal with Bill, to be honest with you. But Bill turned into like tens of thousands of dollars in commissions because he referred me to everyone else. But then he wouldn't list with me because he was just going to be stubborn and leave his home for sale by owner, because that's just Bill, you know? But if I didn't go up there and just like knock, and I'm not suggesting anyone go door knock. This was a long time ago. There's better ways, more efficient ways to do it now. But I did it because, you know, I would make phone calls, but some people wouldn't answer, whatever. So I was just like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to line up the people the houses that I would feel the most highest priority in the best areas, best price ranges, where it was worth my time to go and knock on that door, you know? And I only did like 3 a day. So I wasn't like door knocking lots. I was making lots of calls. I picked 3 a day, and that was just my routine. And so, Stewman is talented, but his talent isn't what got him where it's at. It's his balls to just go out there and do it over and over and over and just not care and take the criticism and have an opinion, God forbid, you know, instead of so many people walking that middle line. Like, I don't want to upset the left. I don't want to upset the right. He just doesn't care. He's like, here's my opinion. Love me, hate me. Bye. And then of course, through that, you're just going to get better and better at writing.
Looking for his people. Yeah. He's just trying to filter through and get to his people that believe what he believes. And, yeah, there's a ton of great, nuggets in there and everything you said. And who's got my people? Yeah.
You said that the other day. I wrote it. I mean, I take more notes than probably people know on these calls. From our leadership calls to everything. Opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, Coach Burt, right? You don't need more money, you need more people. And I kind of, Cardone, who got my money? And I'm like, maybe who got my people? Where are my people at? And so it's just, I think about that all the time. Who's got my people? One of the things that you said, and we're talking principles, but I'll give them a formula. And this is the formula. This is a business formula. It's real simple. Offers minus no's equals yeses. And if you're not getting enough yeses, it's because you haven't got enough no's. And if you haven't got enough no's, you haven't made enough offers. So that's the example with you, right? You're out taking the risk. You're making offers. You're getting doors shut in your face. You're getting no's. But do you stop making offers? No. You keep going because you know that there's a percentage of the offers you make will say yes. And that goes to the assumption. And you just got to figure out what the assumption is. And you can have some benchmarks. But what I see too many times, Al, is that people get hung up on, I need to know the assumption I need to know. Why don't you just do it and track it yourself and figure out your own damn assumptions?
Mm-hmm.
Figure out your own measurements.
Yep. So quick little story. There was a young guy in our market who's really, been blowing up over the last few years, growing a team. Not with us, with a different company. And he made a post that basically was kind of like, stop, it was kind of like a derogatory post toward people that are putting news up about stock. And it wasn't just targeting us. It was like pretty much all these agents that are, putting their awards up and this and that. Now this is something that he does anyway, right? But he was like kind of making, and he was making fun of the fact that we changed our profile pictures to free Mark Willis. And so, he wasn't doing it in a really, really derogatory, but semi-derogatory way. And obviously I'm not going to comment on that and feed into negativity, but I did invite him and his whole team and gave him, to our next event. And so he got it because we're friends on Facebook, and I could see that he read the message and he didn't say nothing. Now, how many of you, like, if you would have said that, would you have stopped right then and there? He may not come to this event, but I'm going to keep inviting him. I'm going to keep inviting him until I come to a point where it's not worth me, my time in pursuing a relationship with him. I'm not trying to recruit him because that would just be dumb. I need a relationship with him first. So I'm just keep on adding to my opportunities every day. It could be people who are like saying the word. I know people that have said the worst things about our company who are now at our company right now. Okay. So
one of them I coached. I can tell you exactly who it is.
So what's your constraint? What's your excuse? Why aren't you sending invites to things? You need to probably identify that and deal with it head on. Yeah. Because, I could just say for me is that I don't care how many no's I get. I believe everybody's coming. And I believe that just because they're not here doesn't mean that they're not going to be here tomorrow or in even 2 years or 3 years. I'm looking at a team that I'm bringing over right now. Ooh, that was what I was mentioned earlier. I've been working this gentleman for 3 years. 3 years. He's a 3-time Pro Bowl, NFL player, and he's happens to be a friend of mine as well. He's got a real estate team, and he's been hemming and hawing and dancing around, like coming over for years. And I just stay with him. I invite him to my house when I have a cookout. I invite him to a game if I got tickets to the Cavs. Not all the time. Just staying in relationship with him. And guess what? All right, I'm ready. I didn't. Yeah, and that's the last 2 teams. Just in the last 60 days, 2 teams that the same exact thing. Just staying in relationship, adding value, not bugging them, none of that, and boom. They come to you.
Put me in, coach.
You get the most attendance and interest in. What's that, buddy?
I said, put me in, coach.
Right. So, Jim, that's a good question, Jim. But it's like So if you're thinking of doing an event yourself local, which I recommend, if you have the ability to get something like that across the finish line, because it can get heavy, I would recommend starting with a panel. We just had this conversation with our leadership group, didn't we,
Yep.
Johnny?
Yep.
The panels are well attended. Everybody likes them. And on so many exponential levels, those are I just love those events more than anything, because it's not a like salesy type of presentation. It delivers a ton of value, because you usually typically will put 3 top producers, 4 or 5. I've had as many as like 5 or 6. I wouldn't probably go more than 6. I think a good number is 5, because then you can get through and everybody can, you know what I mean? You can get through enough, but you position yourself as the person holding the event and asking the questions, which now positions you as an authority. So now you're gaining authority, not just through the audience, but through even the panelists that you're asking questions to, and you're controlling the narrative too. And so the other component that we mentioned on the call, John, was that, the panelists will invite their people, because they're going to want to invite their people to the room so that they could see them on stage, right? So they have the support. So you get that exponential effect. So I like panels, and I also like that followed with a happy hour versus trying to do a lunch. It's easier to get sponsors to cover a happy hour than a full lunch. 2 drink tickets, it's easy. Plus, we all know that realtors like alcohol. So that's going to be a better attractor, I believe. Hopefully that helps, Jim.
Yeah, I love the panel. I think you look at, some of the hot buttons, kind of right now, what are agents thinking? The other component of those events is who's your audience? What's the event? What problem are you solving? And so, if you don't have a superpower, that's where the panel is gold, because that also, like you said, right, helps us bring in their audience as well. And so I love the panel first, and then anything that you can also, and you don't have to be the expert, you can invite experts. And this was pre-pandemic. What you guys were doing a really, really good job of is bringing in somebody that had a superpower, but you stayed at the front of the room. It was your event. You just happened to have a guest coming in that was going to add value. And I just think the hot buttons, anything to help an agent grow their business, anything to help an agent grow their business through social media, and anything to help an agent build a team. Those are like the top 3 go-to things that you're going to get interest on any of those 3. Obviously, number 1 thing is going to be social media, just because people, I honestly, I think people think it's easy, is why they are attracted to it. And it's not easy. It takes consistency. It takes discipline. It takes patience. And so those are the top 3 out that I would say, if you're going to have a resident expert, an expert come in around those 3 topics. And then for sure, man, panel.
Yep.
So good.
Yep. Someone shared it. It was Coach Burt, and I had it written down somewhere here. It was basically like the top 3 topics that, and this is nothing to do with real estate, so to speak, but just like in general, that press the hot buttons of, just human beings in general, that will get them to buy something. And it's usually around health, I think, is one big one.
Yep.
Obviously, becoming wealthy, or
True
right. Yeah. Growing a business and this and that. And I cannot remember what the third one was. Relationships. Thank you.
Yep.
So, you're wondering what to do. If you keep it in one of those parallels, I think you're going to be doing okay. And of course, like you were saying, John, using other people, leveraging other people that have a higher level of knowledge with that makes it a hell of a lot easier to do the event, versus you trying to come up with content every single month. You're welcome, Jim.
It is, man. It's so hard trying to create that content yourself. The other thing that, to kind of expand on that Coach Burt was kind of took it a layer deeper, was that people will come and they will exchange their money for concepts, right? For ideas. So you may have an agent that's like, man, I'm doing really well. I've got a couple of really good pillars. I need some more ideas to help me grow my business. So people will pay for that. Agents or people will also pay for done for you. I'm not going to do it with you. I'm going to do it for you. So how does that apply to growing our business? Well, we provide done for you services. So you can stay forward facing, doing the things that make money in this business. We're just going to do these things for you. The third is framework, structure. People will pay for structure. They will pay for a process. They will pay for a proven, repeatable system backed by market research to help you sell your home for 18% more than traditional real estate. They'll pay for processes. And then the fourth thing that they'll pay for is accountability. And you look at those four components and you look at, okay, do I have those in my organization? Is that part of my value stack that I have to offer for why agents should join me in bettering their career? Do I provide them access to ideas? Do I provide done for you, not done with you, or not do it yourself, but done for you? Do I provide proven frameworks, proven structure, proven systems? And do I provide accountability? And it just taking it layers deeper on, the health, wealth, and relationships, but do I have those four components as well? And that's what people will pay for. So it's really good when you kind of unpack where people are willing to exchange their time and their money to be able to get, what they're looking for to help them solve their problems.
Yep.
Good.
Awesome, man. So a couple of things we got coming up. John, you want to just kind of mention what we have events wise coming up while we wrap up here? I know we have shareholders coming up in June.
That's the big one that's on the radar right now. I know we're scheduled to get back together to kind of finalize kind of what our commitments are for this year. I know we're going to do a live agent to CEO event, and we're going to do a live NAEA boot camp. Those are the three things that we're committed to. I have a strong feeling it'll expand. We're doing things with Coach Burt. We have, it's already, I believe, person of interest in living with the honey badger, I believe, is already filled up, but that's what we've got going on. Shareholders, we will be doing something at shareholders, June 19th, 20th, and 21st, probably something on the 20th or 21st. I think we want to get on the back end because the 19th, that Sunday, is Father's Day. And then agent to CEO will be sometime this summer. And then, of course, we're the first week of December will be in a EA boot camp. Those will all be in person. Those will all be places that we're committed to gathering. Almost 100% we'll do something at EXPCon as well. I know we're going to attend Brent Gove's Build Conference again in August in Dallas. So there, things are out there. So if you guys are looking, I know as far as events, updates and events, that's really communicated through the Honey Badger Facebook group. But we'll keep you guys posted. I know we were really trying to a little more concrete on firm dates, which we're working on. So hopefully here before the end of the first quarter, we'll be able to roll that calendar out to everybody so you guys can plan accordingly going into Q2, Q3, and Q4.
Awesome, man.
Cool. Brother, appreciate you. Thank you so much. And we'll catch you guys next time. See ya.